Welcome, everyone. If someone could just give me a little indication they could hear me, that'll be absolutely great. Testing, testing. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Mike Said here. All good. Thank you, Matthew. Excellent. So, hi, Renee. Oh, it's nice to see everyone coming on board. Welcome, everyone. So, let me start with the first question. What have wallpaper cleaner and Play-Doh got in common, and what's the significance of that in 2020? I'm not going to wait for an answer, so let me rather give you the answer straight away. Now, wall cleaner was used at the turn of the previous century, was when I was still alive and you guys weren't, when homes were heated with a coal or wood. And what it would do is it would leave a residue of soot on your wallpaper. So you'd take the sticky kind of concoction, you'd put it in your hand and you'd press it up against your wall and you'd slowly clean the soot off your wall. Enter the Second World War and the 1950s, and America starts booming. And all of a sudden, people are heating their homes with gas and oil and electricity, and they're no longer using soot. And the Kutol Wallpaper Company is literally about to go bankrupt. When the CEO of the company gets a call from his sister, who tells him that the children at her play school like to use Kutol wall cleaner, they like to mold it into different shapes because it doesn't get hard and it doesn't get dry. She then says to him, why don't you change Kutol wall cleaner, call it Play-Doh, add some color to it, and there we go. And that is exactly how Play-Doh was born. So about 50 years ago, a company literally changed gears. And I think that's what right now what it's all about, is this idea of being able to change gears. Now, I've heard the word pivot so many times that I actually want to be ill when people say, oh, I'm pivoting, we must pivot. It's not about pivoting. It's about changing gears. It's about being able to take what you have now and turn it into something that works for you. So just a little bit of background. I'm about 1 day and 1 week away from my 59th birthday. And why that is relevant is a lot of the time when I'm talking to people and I say to them, I want you to use social media, I want you to try something technical, I always get this, I'm too old, I'm too scared, I'm too nervous. It's always a reason why they don't. And I'm here to tell you that you can teach old dogs new tricks. Now, another thing I want to tell you is that I'm not employed at the moment. In other words, I'm a freelancer. I rely on little bits of work that I get all over the place, particularly over the last 5 months. So you're not here sitting listening to a high-paid, high-power executive who relies on a salary check every month and is not talking from experience. I have never earned so little money from so many people as I have over the last 5 months, only to learn that a little bit of money from a lot of people is still a lot of money, or at least enough. So let me give you some idea of the ways that I've had to pivot myself. I like taking photographs. So what do? I now take photographs professionally for people. Just before lockdown, I bought myself a 360-degree camera, which I was going to use for action sports. And I was going to go out and film myself skydiving, ziplining, and sell that footage. But of course, you can't go out. So what I've learned to do now is that I use my 360-degree camera to shoot virtual tours of properties for real estate agents. Another thing I did was I worked with the restaurant industry for a long time, and for most of those 5 months, the restaurant industry have been closed. What I realized, when the restaurant industry could open, I was able to use my connections within the restaurant industry, combined with my ability to work online, to create small applications that restaurants could use to track customers before and after they came into the restaurant. But that's enough just to tell you this is what it's all about. It's about changing gears. So today we're going to learn a bit about social media and how I use social media. And I call my talk what I learned about social media at 14,000 feet. Yes, that is me jumping out of an airplane at 14,000 feet over Mossel Bay. People ask me, were you scared? Of course I was scared. I was absolutely petrified on the way up until suddenly something dawned on me. The guy that I was strapped to, that guy with his hands up in the air there, that guy that I was strapped to, I trusted him more than I trust my doctor. If I were to die, my doctor would speak really nicely about me at my funeral. If I were to die skydiving, that guy dies with me. I had to put my trust in somebody who I honestly believed knew more about it than I did. So a couple of things that I learned. First of all, Do one thing that scares you every day. Do your homework. Learn about what you're going to do. Assess the safety risks. And then most importantly, trust an expert. And then finally, just jump. What I've done with today's talk is I've tried to structure around a couple of questions that people ask me all the time, and particularly at the moment, and some of the questions that came out of the last talk. So first of all, what will my customers expect of me right now and post-COVID-19? Now, I wish I could tell you when post-COVID-19 or is going to be, but I can tell you that it's kind of now. We're already just starting to come out of it. Yes, we walk around with our masks and we're more careful, but businesses are opening and things are getting kind of back to normal, or what we could say maybe is the new normal now. So here are a couple of customer expectations. First of all, there has been a real switch to honesty and transparency. People are just simply tired of being lied to, and that includes by marketers. It's really important that you understand that just a couple of years ago, you would have trusted your doctor before anyone else. Now, you get a bit of a fever. Before you even go to the doctor, you whip out WebMD and you're looking at your symptoms. On the way there, you're diagnosing what medicines. Nobody trusts anyone. So a very big switch to honesty and transparency in everything that you do. Another thing is understanding the difference between perception and reality. Like most of you, I am a small business owner. It is really important that my customers perceive me as being bigger than I actually am. Now we go back to honesty and transparency. Am I lying to them? No, I'm not. But perception is more important than reality. So the perception that is given by having a good business card, by having a proper logo, by having a website, by having a well-managed Facebook, Instagram, social media pages. That's when I'm talking about perception. The perception that you create is that you are an expert in your field. There's also at the moment a real swing away from interruption marketing. Now, interruption marketing is you pick up a magazine and every second page is an advert. We know what's happened. Already a number of publications have fallen by the wayside. As we're speaking, they're closing magazines right now. Another piece of interruption marketing is adverts on DSTV, for example. So what do we do instead? We watch catch up and we fast forward through any adverts. Or as my daughter and I used to do, even in the days of MasterChef, is we'd only start watching 15 or 20 minutes later so that we could fast forward through the adverts. So companies are spending millions and millions of rands on interruption marketing, and it's completely missing the mark. The one form of interruption marketing that still seems to work is radio advertising. And if you can, I highly recommend that you and your company at least explore radio advertising. People don't change channels between during commercials on the radio. There's a massive swing at the moment to show and don't tell. In other words, show people what you're doing. Give them insight. Use videos, demonstrations, good presentations, anything like that. Just stop talking over people. Start involving them in your presentations. Show them what you're doing. Give them real-life examples. The next thing is targeting and segmentation. Now, this is probably the single most important thing for any small business owner. And I use the example of Spur all the time. Spur understand exactly who their target market is. The perfect table at Spur, it's got 2 adults, 2 children, and 1 set of grandparents. Now, those of you that are married, especially the men, will understand you're always paying, but it's always her parents, and nobody quite understands that, but that's where it works. But Spur really understand. They so completely understand their target market. Sorry, I just was reading a question there, but I'll come back to you in a second, Mativo. This targeting and segmentation. If you as a small business owner could understand who you are talking to, who your perfect target market is, that is half the battle. Now, your perfect target market is that customer that if you put them in a photocopy machine and you ran off 100 copies, you would be wealthy in no time at all. Now, I sit with a small business owner. I said to him, who's your target market? And he says to me, everybody. I said, well, don't you at least mean everybody with money? Oh, yes. And don't you mean everyone with money who at least lives within a certain area of you? And so it goes down until you eventually break down this targeting and segmentation and understand who your ideal customer is. Remember, we're small business owners with small budgets. We need to fish where the fish are. Even if we're using Facebook, we need to do targeting and segmentation. If we're doing adverts, targeting and segmentation. If we're getting across our message, targeting and segmentation. Then there's another big switch to integration. And integration is to be able to make everything look like everything. So, for example, when I do my presentation should resemble what I have on my website. My website should represent what happens on my business card. My business card should represent what happens on my video presentations. Everything needs to be integrated and everything needs to be carefully sought out. It's right now, what most small business owners have more than anything else is we have time. We have time to hit the reset button and do things properly. Get that Gmail account number off your Gmail account address off your business card. Go into, I don't know if any of you have come across Canva. That's canva.com. Canva.com is probably, it's God's gift to small business owners when it comes to design. If none of you are using Canva or any of you using Canva, I highly recommend as small business owners, take the time, take the trouble, go to YouTube, watch a couple of videos and learn to do Canva. Besides changing the complete look and feel of everything you do, it'll save you a lot of money. And the final expectation right now is this expectation that everything has been disrupted. Now, I attended a restaurant convention in February, just before the lockdown. And I can imagine if I'd stood up on the stage and spoken to a couple of hundred restaurant owners and said to them, listen, guys, I've got news for you. For the next 4 or 5 months, you're not going to be allowed to sell food. They would have laughed me off the stage or had me taken away. But that's actually what happened to the industry. We all suddenly got disrupted. Industries were, if I'd asked a restaurant owner, what are the chances of you being disrupted? They said to me, no ways, everybody likes to eat and everyone likes to eat out. In fact, they would say everyone has to eat. That's why I'm always going to be in business. And all of a sudden, we've discovered it's actually not like that. So between honesty and transparency, perception, reality, less interruption, show, don't tell, targeting, segmentation, integration, disruption, I'm telling you right now, go straight to targeting and segmentation. Start there. Understand your target market. It'll change your life for you. The next thing people ask me is, they say, how do I start on social media? Okay, Mark, I'm scared. I'm doing a bit. I'd like to know a little bit more about social media. What would you recommend? Now, I don't have 2 or 3 hours to teach you this, so I'm going to take you through some of the basics. But first of all, I want to tell you about the object of this presentation when it comes to social media. I'm here today to introduce you to the idea of social media, to introduce you to the different things. I'd also like to be able to calm you. I want you to understand that this is easier than it seems, less expensive. It's doable. Take it bit by bit. I want to inform you. I want to give you hints and tips. I want to refer you to stuff like Canva. I want to tell you some of the apps that I'm using, free apps on the internet that have changed my life for me. And most importantly, I want to inspire each and every one of you. I can't teach you everything today, but I can inspire you. I want to inspire you to learn more about the subject. And I want to inspire you to take at least one thing that you learned today, just one single thing, and do that either tonight or tomorrow. And if I've done that, then I can assure you my job is more than done. Okay, so let's talk about social media. For me, social media starts off with my website and my blog. No matter what people tell you about, oh no, Facebook and Facebook pages and everything like that, it is really important that businesses do have a website. It adds to so much credibility. So the first thing, if you haven't got a website, go out there and register a domain for yourself. I myself, and I get no commission from them whatsoever, I use AfriHost. There are lots of other suppliers, but my supplier of choice is AfriHost. They supply me with a MySQL database, and they supply me with a cPanel, things that I understand and I'm able to use, so that would be my choice. Once I've registered on my domain, I then want to set it up. And my site builder of choice, for want of a better word, is WordPress. Now, I've heard wonderful things about Wix, about some of the other sites. I'm not knocking any of them. I'm just going to tell you that I myself am a really big WordPress fan. Google loves WordPress. It's easy to use. It creates easily. It's kind of my go-to thing. So if you want my advice, it's get yourself some hosting, get yourself a Google WordPress. Start off by building a Google WordPress. Now, what about a blog? What is a blog? Well, a blog is actually an online diary. That's really what it is. It's a little softer than the content. It's a little bit more insight. I write my articles there. I'm a little more irreverent. Occasionally on my blog, you might find a couple of F words, which you won't find in the content of my actual website. On some of my blogs, I actually use video, which is then called a vlog. But the thing with a blog is what it does is it forces you to upgrade your website all the time, forces you to yourself to put fresh content. So you need to promise yourself that what you're going to do is you're going to write a blog a month to start. Don't promise a blog a week because you're not going to do it. But promise yourself for the first 3 or 4 months, you'll write 1 blog a month. Then after that, you can go to 2 blogs a month, and then 3 until eventually you're writing weekly. Now, what happens is Google are sending out spiders every single day looking for fresh content on websites. And the more fresh content they find, the more they believe that website is relevant. And remember that Google is all about your website's relevance is what actually pushes you up there. Does it have the right keywords? Do you have the right links in it? And are you creating fresh content that other people are reading? So the number one trick to getting yourself up the Google rankings, if you're not going to be paying for it, is to start writing, blogging, and upgrading and updating your website on a very, very, very regular basis. My next stop is always Facebook. I am a very, very strong believer in Facebook. I think it's turned out to be a wonderful marketing tool for small businesses for one particular reason more than any other, and that is that you're able to segment your market so carefully. If I'm selling biltong, something that I want to deliver within a particular area, I'm able to say within 5 kilometers of my house, people that have searched for the word biltong before, I can narrow it down. People with an interest in food. It's an amazing tool. So the first thing you do with Facebook, obviously you have to have your own personal page. Once you have your own personal page, go and open a business page. It's very, very simple to do. Facebook themselves have follow me instructions. But what you can also do is you can pop along to YouTube, which is my favorite go-to encyclopedia. Type in there how to create a Facebook page, and believe me, everything you want to know about it is there. Now, once you've got that Facebook page, you're going to want to build yourself a really nice cover photograph for it. So where you're going to do that, you're going to go back to Canva. Remember, I spoke to you about Canva early on, canva.com. You're going to search Facebook cover page. It's going to tell you how to do it. Then you're going to look Facebook profile picture, and it's going to give you the exact size. Then you're going to say, create a logo for me, and Canva's going to help you do that. And every time you build a post, you want it to be a particular size. So you'll go to Canva, you'll click create Facebook post, and you'll have the perfect size and hundreds of thousands of templates and photographs for you to use. So all of a sudden, if I were to say that 5 or 6 years ago, you needed to call in a designer, or maybe you were building it really poorly on PowerPoint, now you can kind of do everything yourself. So that's where we are. The next thing I can't stress enough is the importance of video marketing at the moment. People want to watch video. They don't want to read. A little while ago, my phone would arrive, or a new camera would arrive with an instruction book. And I would try and read through the instruction book. Then I decided, no, I'm not going to read through the instruction book. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go online and I'm going to search for articles on that camera. Now I don't even do that. I go straight to YouTube. I search for the name of the drone, the name of the camera, the name of the phone, and I look for guys with 600,000-700,000 views, and I know they know what they're talking about, and that's where I'm getting my information from. And that's where your customers are getting their information from too. Every single one of you could be making your own marketing videos right now with very, very little hassle at all. And I'm going to tell you some of the apps that you really should investigate. Let me just tell you a couple of my favorite go-to apps at the moment. There are a couple of camera apps. Let me just open my own phone so I can tell you what they are. You could look for something called ProMovie. ProMovie is a completely 100% free video movie making tool in your hand. Focus, depth of field, correct lighting, everything is there for you. Once you've taken the movie, you want to edit the movie. And of course, if you're going to edit the movie, you want to edit the movie with something that doesn't cost you any money. So I highly recommend a program called VLLO. Now, VLLO, I just want to check that my spelling's correct. VLLO is 100% free, and it's available on Apple and Android. And go and watch a couple of videos, and before you know it, you're going to be recording your own videos, you're going to be editing your own videos, you're going to be putting titles on them, you're going to be putting royalty-free music on them, and people are going to sit back and say, whoa, this guy has just arrived. Now, when it comes to making videos, here are a couple of hints and tips for you. Wherever possible, keep your videos to round about 90 seconds. Please remember, we're dealing with what I call the Instagram generation. People that want instant gratification. Nobody's going to watch a video for 15, 20 minutes. Very often when I make my own videos, I start off with a small little video intro, which I've had made on Fiverr. Here's another one for you. That's fiverr.com. At Fiverr, there are guys all over the world that will do things for a couple of dollars. I'm not kidding if I can tell you can get a voiceover recorded for about 300 or 400 Rand. You can have a logo made for 180 Rand. You can have a title made for your video for 180 Rand. There are so many amazing free or extremely, I shouldn't say cheap, great value for money apps out there for small business owners to use. So now you've made your video, you've cut it down to 90. What I was going to tell you about my videos is what I tend to do with my videos is I tell people how long the video is going to be. So I'll start off with my small little video intro and I'll say, hi, the next 90 seconds are going to change your life. Please watch the next 180 seconds to learn the following. As soon as people know how long they have to watch for, you've got them caught. I just want to make sure that we once you've got them hooked on that video, once they've seen past the start, they're gonna watch the end of it. So I can tell you now, as I said earlier about your website, your blog, and your Facebook, there is absolutely no excuse for small business owners not to be making their own videos. There are some remarkable videos out there. There are companies like Skillshare. Go and sign up on Skillshare for a 2-month free trial. Go learn some stuff there. You might just stay. Udemy, there are so many of them. There's amazing stuff out there. So now we have a website, we have a Facebook page, we have some video marketing done. Let's talk about some of the other stuff. You want to send out newsletters? Go to mailchimp.com. Absolutely free, easy to use mailing system. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to all my customers and I'm sending them emails, telling them about my video marketing, where they can find me on Facebook. I'm sending them a short link from one of my blogs, a little intro, all these things. All I'm doing is I'm integrating. I'm making sure everything's working together. And that's the steps to social media. So now you've built all of this and everyone asks me the same thing. Okay, Mike, how do I now generate and how do I predict some sales from my actions? How do I turn these thousands of people, or should I say billions of people, I think, on Facebook at the moment, at least 1 billion people on Facebook at the moment, how do I turn them into customers? And the first thing to understand is what's known as lead generation. Now, lead generation is like a kind of buzzword. I get calls from customers all day long who say to me, hey, Mike, what do you know about lead generation and can you help me? I can tell you about lead generation. It's hard. It's a long, slow process, but you can do it. And in order to understand lead generation, we need to understand the cycle of a customer. Right now, most of the people who you'd like to be dealing with are actually strangers. They've never heard of you. They've never heard of your website. They don't know what you do. There's a million things that they just don't know. And our first job is to take those strangers and turn them into visitors. And how do we do that? We do that by writing great blogs, by using good keywords, by doing fantastic posts on social media, great information, free sharings, making small videos, all those kind of things where these strangers will get a glimpse of what you're doing and they'll want to visit your site or visit your Facebook page. That's how step number 1 is turning strangers into visitors. And also you'll see that I have added paid promotion. I have had a tremendous amount of success with paid promotions on Facebook. What I tend to do is I allocate $20, which is about 400 Rand, to approximately 1 week of promotions. So I'll pick something very specific. I'll understand my target market, whether it be a video or an article, and I'll spend a bit of money getting my Facebook page and getting my name out in front of more people than could ever see it if I did it generically. Now, as we all know, all of you know that every time you open your Facebook page, you see the same 25 to 40 friends. Even if you've posted that silly little thing that says, oh, I learned how to trick the system, No, you haven't. Facebook, unfortunately, is much smarter than all of us. You are seeing the same 20 to 40 people all the time. So every time you post on your Facebook page, that's exactly who's seeing it. So what you want to do is I want you to share my content. I don't want you to like my content. Although, no, wait, let me put it this way. I do want you to like my content. I do want you to comment on my content. But more importantly, I want you to share my content. I want to incentivize you to share my content. And I'm going to talk about shared content a bit later on, because that's a section all on its own. Right, now we have visitors. They're coming to our site. How do we turn those visitors into leads? We do that, first of all, by using forms. In other words, questionnaires, things that they might want to fill in. What I love to do is to give something away. So, for example, read the first 10 pages of my book. Enjoy my short video on how to make your own video free of charge. All you have to do is fill in your email address. So now all of a sudden, I have their email address. So now they've become leads. So and I've got great call to action, setting up landing pages, putting great offers, questionnaires, anything like that. Now I've got visitors. I've turned them into leads. They're coming to my website. I'm conversing with them. What do? I use CRM, customer relationship management. I'm sending them information once a week, once every 2 weeks. However, I don't want to bombard them. I want them to understand that what they're going to get from me, I'm going to drip feed them really good information all the time. I'm not going to give them one 30-minute video to watch. Nobody's got the time for it. Nobody even wants to. When my friends send me and say to me, here, watch this, I know it's long, they should just say, Mike, I know you're not going to watch this. The word long just doesn't work for me. But if they say to me, Mike, 90 seconds, go for it. You got me. Now we've got these leads. We need to turn them into customers. As I said, CRM, customer relationship management, great emails, good offers, anything we possibly can. And then a very, very important thing is the step from number 4 to number 5, how to take them from customers to promoters. Now, I myself, as you might be able to see here, I'm an iPhone fan. That's me. I have been for the last 4 or 5 years. Before that, I was a Samsung fan. Right now, I'm an iPhone fan. If you ask me what phone I recommend, I'll tell you straight away, go for iPhone. The main reason is that I like their apps. I don't get paid by iPhone, nothing like that. And I'm not at the moment promoting iPhone. If I had a Samsung in front of me, that's what I do. These customers have turned us into promoters. Most people that talk about restaurants are promoters. Some obviously moan. What we really want to do is we want your customers to start talking about you. We want them to share your content. And this is the lead generation cycle. We don't take strangers to paid customers in one step. There's a lot of work that goes into them around building your site, building your website, and everything like that. So now we understand what the lead generation cycle is, and now we have to ask ourselves, how do I get my message across? How do I get people to understand what my message is? And this comes from a fantastic book called Contagious by Jonah Berger. Now, I hate reading. I need to tell you, in fact, a WhatsApp message I find quite long. I've become lazy. So what do? I joined Audible and I listen to audiobooks all the time. And I came across this amazing book called Contagious. It absolutely blew my mind. It was, why do things spread? And he talks about the 6 steps that make a story really explode. The first thing is there social currency? Does it make the audience feel good about themselves, about what they're doing? Is there a charity element? Is there something about them that reminds them of something from their childhood? It's just something. And then the next one is triggers, these little things that will remind us of a product. Now, a lot of people don't know, but KitKat overseas, KitKat bars, 4-finger bars, KitKat were in a lot of trouble. Their sales were they were declining. When all of a sudden, KitKat came across the slogan, KitKat and coffee. That was it. KitKat and coffee. KitKat and coffee. So what they were able to do is every time someone picked up a cup of coffee, and you need to understand that a lot of people are drinking 7 or 8 cups of coffee a day, that coffee would trigger KitKat in their mind. And in the first quarter after they launched KitKat and coffee, KitKat's sales jumped, I think, between 25 and 40%. The next thing is there an emotional connection? Are you able to connect with your audience on some kind of emotional level? Do they connect with the character? Do they connect with the image you're using? Do they connect with the words that you're using? All these things, this emotional attachment is extremely strong. And then public. What's the public doing at the moment? Are you able to tap into something? Now, yesterday I was at one of my clients filming a video, and halfway through the video, they asked me if I can come back on Friday so that I can film them with a drone. They want to do the Jerusalem dance. Now, that's connecting with the public. Everybody's doing the Jerusalem dance. Maybe it's a little bit overdone at the moment, or it will be soon, but that's a really good example of how companies are coming onto something that's emotional, holds social currency, and all the public are doing it. The next thing is, are you offering some practical value? So in other words, is there some advice to what you're doing? I'm hoping that there's practical value to you taking 20 or 30 or 40 minutes of your time and being here today. And then stories. Are you able to tell stories? Is it a cool story? So those are the steps. But I myself have my own little formula, and I've been doing this for ages and ages. I call them the 4 R's of social media. I find that if I can be regular, relevant, remarkable, and real, or at least 3 of those 4, that's just enough. So every single time I do a post, particularly around marketing, I'm asking myself, am I posting often enough to remain regular? Is this post relevant? Is it hitting on something that's happening at the moment? Is it remarkable? Is it stirring something? Is it, be it laughter, emotion, sadness, a thirst for knowledge? And is it real? Does it come from me? Now, very often companies want someone else to do the social media for you. They feel that they're just too busy, or they don't understand it. One of the biggest challenges with calling someone else in to do your social media is that you will lose the real element. So 23 people watching today, I'm sure most of you are small business owners. Regular, relevant, remarkable, and real, and change the way you do social media. But then people say to me, Mark, I'm really trying, but you know what? I'm not seeing any of this on my page at the moment. I'm not seeing any action. I'm not getting any likes. I'm not getting any shares. Can you tell me why? And I'm going to give you the 5 reasons why most of the time it's not working for you. Number 1, you haven't got a strategy. You have to start with a strategy. You have to understand, what's my message? Who am I talking to? What's my call to action? That's a very, very basic strategy. How long is it going to last for? How much money I'm going to spend on it? So there we are, 5-step strategy. What's my message? Who am I going to talk to? What's my call to action? Am I going to spend any money on it? And how long is this going to last? So build yourself a strategy. The second thing is boring content. I'm amazed by the low, poor level of content that I'm seeing on the internet at the moment. People will share anything. They're constantly sharing rubbish with no disrespect. They're taking poor images, even of their own products. They're shooting very, very poor images in low light and expecting to people. And that obviously jumps onto number 3, which is the lack of good images and video. Spend a bit of time, spend the money. By the way, if you are going to get onto Canva, Canva has an incredible selection of free to use images and videos. If you're prepared to spend an upgrade to Canva Pro, which I highly recommend, there's nothing else you need. Every image, every video, every technique you need is sitting in that. And by the way, I don't get commission from Canva. I wish I did, because I can shout about them all day long. The 4th thing is that there's absolutely no value to customers. People just don't understand that if it has value to you, does not necessarily mean that it has value to customers. And yes, Rebecca, you're right. People just don't understand the value of great quality images. That's what it's all about. They're going to Facebook. They're going to Google. Then they're searching for an image. Then they're finding one that's still got the little lines across it, or U123 to show that the image was stolen. Invest in good images and good video, and I promise you'll see your marketing go through the mark. Sorry, Marcel, share. I didn't finish that part. Sorry, Marcel, I'm a bit lost. If you can just get back to me on that. And then, as I say, no value to the customer. So we're putting all the stuff out there, and just because you like it, you're getting people to share. The way to get people to share your stuff is you have to ask them, and you have to give them a reason. And that goes to regular, relevant, remarkable, and real. If you're putting out remarkable content, I can promise you right now, you'll see stuff grow. I have had one or two of my posts go insanely viral. When I say insanely, I mean things beyond anything I would expect. I've had things like 30,000 shares on a particular post. I had a video that was seen about 250,000 times. It was a little bit of humor. It was the crowd cheering when Cyril Ramaphosa announced the opening of alcohol sales the first time round. But it made me realize that people want to share. They want to share what they feel has value to them, emotionally, humor, anything like that. And then, of course, number 5 is an undefined target market. In other words, you're putting out stuff to the wrong people. You're sending the wrong message to the wrong people. It's no use. I'm always amazed when I see color TVs advertised on my color TV. But these guys know what they're doing. They know that I'm sitting there. There's a good chance I'm sitting there looking to upgrade. They know that because I'm watching this program, it means a lot to me. So those are the 5 reasons why most people don't get any traction, and I can assure you, you can change that. So how do I convert my message into sales? That's the next question I'll always get. Okay, Mike, I've come up with my message. I've built my Facebook page. I'm doing all this, but I'm not seeing sales at the moment. So let me take you through this. First of all, let's understand that social media right now is not optional. In fact, if you're not on social media, you're actually nowhere at the moment. It's kind of social media or nothing. None of us can afford anything else. Next step number 2, social media is not difficult. You can do it. It is difficult to master, but it's not difficult to start and not difficult to get better all the time. I do a small little course on shooting and editing videos. And please excuse my language, but I tell people, I'm going to tell you right now, your first video is going to be cuck. And your second video is going to be less cuck. And your third video, even less, till eventually you're making good videos and great videos. But if all you're going to do is sit back and wait until you've got everything absolutely perfect, it's not going to work. Question here, have I done any marketing on LinkedIn? So I'm not going to knock LinkedIn, but I personally am not a LinkedIn fan. I haven't quite found the way LinkedIn works for me. And I've heard people who've had tremendous success. So maybe it's something that I'm missing out on, and I should get my head out of my what's-the-name and I should start learning some LinkedIn. But LinkedIn seems to work for pretty well for business to business, and it certainly works for people looking for jobs or looking to fill jobs. But my own experience with LinkedIn is that I have a LinkedIn profile. It's underutilized. I do try and keep it up to date, but you know, Tapiwe, what you've done is you've challenged me. I'm now going to spend some time. That's my one thing. I'm going to go and look at my LinkedIn profile a little closer. The next thing is understanding that social media is not free. It's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you effort. It's going to cost you maybe a bit of money in what you do. You're going to learn things. You're going to upgrade things. It's not totally free, but it's worth doing. Number 4, please understand that once you post it, it's out there. You don't get to take stuff back. Please check your post. Check it for spelling. Check it for political, for social implications. It's almost impossible to undo something. Even if you did it with the best intention and you didn't mean those things, if you get a chance, go onto Netflix and just watch a show called Wiener, W-E-I-N-E-R. It's about a New York senator who didn't quite understand the difference between a direct message and a tweet, and sent a wonderful picture of him standing in his underpants to the whole world, and it was all over for him bar the shouting. So please remember, once you post it, it's out there. Number 5, the very important part about social media is listen first and sell second. Listen in on conversations. Listen to what your customers are saying to you. Go read their posts. Go look at what they're doing. It's a conversation where you need to listen, respond. They say something more to you, respond. That's what it's all about. I am absolutely amazed by companies at the moment that are doing social media so poorly. If you want, I don't know how many of you are on Twitter. Here's something you can do. Set up 2 Twitter accounts. At exactly the same time, on the same day, post a compliment and a complaint about any well-known South African company, be it Woolworths, Checkers, Pick n Pay, Shell, you name it, but post them at the exact same time. I can tell you what's going to happen. The post where you compliment them is going to get liked and shared immediately by their social media team. The post where you complain, you may get a response, but I doubt it. You'll probably have to post it a second or third time. On the second or third time, you're going to get a post that says, we are sorry to hear this. Please, will you DM us? In other words, let's take this off the public forum and keep it just between the two of us. If you decide to do that, check the questions coming. Sorry, I'm going to read the questions. I'll come to them in a second. Listen first, sell second. And then very, very important is sell, sell, sell. That's what this is all about. It's about selling, selling, selling. You can't do all of this for well, you can do it for the love of mankind, but I tend to do that on my personal page where I do my charity works. I do my social work. But on my business page, I want to generate business. I want to generate estate agents phoning me to do walking tours. I want to generate small businesses phoning me to make videos. I want to build websites, whatever it is, because right now, like all of you, I do need to earn an income at the moment. So sell, sell, sell. And then finally, success is not guaranteed, but insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. You have to start somewhere, do something different. I'm amazed by the number of my own customers who come to me and say to me, oh, I'm in deep trouble. Well, what have you tried lately? Nothing. Have you tried that strategy we spoke about last week? No, I haven't. Just please, I'm begging you one thing. So before I move on, I just want to go over to the two questions. The first one from Mativo with regard to perception. I'm curious if the company image is more important than the level of service provided in the South African context as opposed to Nigeria, for example. No, in the end, customer service is going to be what makes or breaks your company. But before people will even give you an opportunity or work with you, the perception has to be that you are a professional company who's able to do the job. Now, I will sit down with a guy and he'll say to me, hi, Mike, I'd like to employ your marketing services. And let me make an example. He's a plumber. I'll say to him, Dave, my job is to make the whole world believe that you are the best plumber in the world. Your job is to be the best plumber in the world. That's the difference between it. And that's perception versus reality. On the marketing side, you look at your perception. On the business side, you're looking at the reality. And then Charlene asked a question. I'm finding it quite difficult to keep track of all the social media platforms. Do you have any tips for staying on top of all of it? Have landed up only doing Facebook and Insta. Is this too limiting? No, it's not, Charlene. I'd rather you did Facebook and Insta really, really well than did all the platforms really, really badly. So two things I just want to say right now. We're entering a very different world. I want you to specialize on something. I want you to make sure that Facebook and that Insta sing to people. Once you've got them completely waxed, you can start looking at other things. You can look at Facebook, at WhatsApp business. You can dip your toe into what does my daughter use nowadays? TikTok, which is a great marketing tool. But no, you're doing absolutely perfectly if you're doing those two things really, really well. Another thing I want to tell all of you that we're in a very different world at the moment. And part of that world says that good and fast is better than great and slow. Don't wait until it's completely perfect. Just get it out there. Try not to make mistakes, but I can tell you that good and fast right now, particularly when it comes to videos, to your reaction, is going to beat slow and great any day whatsoever. So as I come to the end of my presentation, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. I hope I've at least introduced you to what I do and what you can do. I hope I've excited you and at the same time calmed you enough to understand that you can do this. It's in your hands. The tools are out there. I'm hoping I've informed you, given you some hints and tips, some of the free stuff that I use. Another one of my absolutely free pages. Go to 123 apps, APPS, 123, the numbers, apps.com. Anything you need to convert a video, to convert your sound, to convert PDFs is all sitting there. In fact, one day I think I must do a talk on 101 things you can do for free on the internet, and you'll be absolutely amazed. So I'm hoping that I inspired each one of you to go and do something, even if it's open Canva, open a Facebook, get a better business card, get a domain, get a website, because that's where we are at the moment. So from my side, it's been an absolute pleasure to be here again. I'm hoping you can all use it. I know they will, if I spoke a little bit too fast, but it's all there. Please come back, watch it again. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you. I'm sure that if you need, Nedbank can supply you with my contact details, and I'll just supply you with any information that you want. So thank you, Susan. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Sarah. Everybody, thank you so much for joining me, and all the best. I know things are starting to lift up. Motivo, I'm inspired too, because I'm now going to go and find out about LinkedIn, which I hadn't done before. So I'm going to sign off now. If there are no more questions, thank you very much, everyone. It's been absolutely wonderful.